Helena Marino wakes to the sound of her own breathing. Shallow, shaky, unfamiliar. Her eyes snap open to a ceiling she doesn't recognize, lit by harsh white lights that buzz, like they're irritated to be awake too. She tries to move and immediately learns two things. Her legs are unsteady, and someone strapped her wrist to the table like she's a science project. They're scared might run away. Her throat is dry, her mind is worse, blank in places that shouldn't be blank. Her last memory is a battlefield, a scream, and then nothing. A door hisses open. A group of masked technicians walk in, whispering about her as though she's not fully conscious. One of them calls her the Vivimancer. Another says, she shouldn't be awake yet. Helena listens, confused. The word feels familiar but wrong, like a name she once had but no longer owns. She asks where she is. No one answers. Instead, they unstrap her and haul her upright. Her knees buckle, her balance fails. The world tilts. She's caught by a man standing in the doorway. Tall, rigid posture, expression unreadable. His dark eyes flick over her like he's assessing damage. Kaine Ferron. She knows the name instinctively, but not why. Her stomach twists with a recognition that isn't pleasant. Kaine steps forward, voice calm in a way that doesn't match the cuffs on her wrists. Helena, you've been in stasis. You're safe now. Safe. The word tastes bitter. Helena tries to pull away, but Kaine holds her steady with infuriating ease. He tells the others to leave. They obey. The door shuts. The room feels too small. She studies him in silence, his uniform, the insignia of the new regime, the precision of a man who never does anything by accident. He looks like someone who traded ideals for efficiency and learned to live with the cost. Why can't I remember, she asks. Kaine's jaw clenches. Your memories were altered before we recovered you. We're trying to restore them. Recovered, restored. Words that dance around the truth. She was taken. He escorts her down a hallway lined with reinforced glass. Shadows of other patients, subjects, prisoners flicker behind the panels. The air smells sterile, metallic, wrong. Helena's pulse quickens. Every instinct screams that she's in danger, but her mind can't provide the history behind the fear. Her reflection in the glass stops her cold. Her hair is shorter, her skin paler, her eyes tired in a way she doesn't recognize. She feels like a stranger wearing her own body. Kaine notices her hesitation. You're alive, he says quietly. That wasn't guaranteed. The words land heavily, as though he lost something or someone along the way. Helena turns from the glass. What do you want from me? He doesn't answer directly. The silence is its own confession. Helena is led deeper into the estate, deeper into captivity, deeper into a life she can't remember choosing. Every step makes one thing clear. Someone erased her past, and Kaine Ferron is going to decide what she learns next. But Helena Marino has never been good at staying controlled, and she's about to remember why. Helena doesn't remember volunteering to be anyone's captive, but Kaine Ferron walks her through his estate with the confidence of a man who assumes cooperation. The corridors are quiet, too clean, too controlled. Every door is locked from the outside. Every window is reinforced. It's the kind of place designed to keep dangerous things inside. And Helena hates how easily she wonders if she is one of those things. The memories come in flickers. A flash of blood on her hands. A field hospital burning. Bodies carried out under a red sky. A voice, her own, shouting orders she doesn't remember learning to give. The images hit like small electrical shocks, sharp and frustrating. She grabs the wall once, breath hitching as another memory slams into her. A classroom, two students standing at opposite ends of a table, her and Kaine, arguing over an alchemical reaction while an exhausted professor prays for early retirement. The rivalry is vivid. So is the fact that she won that argument. Kaine glances at her now, probably sensing the shift in her breathing. Anything coming back? He asks. She glares. Enough to know I didn't like you? He almost smiles, and that part's accurate. A medic enters the room with a clipboard, asking Helena a series of questions about her vivimancy, her life force magic. She answers none of them, partly because she can't, and partly because she refuses to cooperate on principle. The medic notes her unpredictable response patterns, which is a polite way of saying she's being difficult. Later, alone in her room, the fragments finally start to string together. She remembers the resistance. She remembers healing soldiers faster than anyone else could. She remembers the look people gave her, half awe, half fear. She remembers the regime hunting Vivimancers for their ability to manipulate life itself. And she remembers Kaine Ferron standing across a battlefield, wearing the wrong colors. That memory alone stings. When Kaine visits again, Helena is pacing like a caged animal. She confronts him immediately. You fought for them, for the regime. Why am I in your house instead of a prison? Kaine crosses his arms. Classic Kaine posture. You weren't supposed to survive the war. Most Vivimancers didn't. That's not an answer? No, he agrees quietly. It's not. The tension between them is sharp. Old academic rivalry twisted into something heavier. Helena remembers competing with him, arguing with him, outscoring him, outthinking him. She also remembers the way he watched her sometimes, like he was trying not to admire her. Now she sees a different version of that gaze, one laced with guilt, and something dangerously close to loyalty. The imbalance of power is obvious. Helena has no memories, no allies, no freedom. Kaine has all three, but the way he looks at her makes it clear he's not as comfortable holding that power as he pretends to be. The past is returning, and none of it is simple. Helena was not just a healer. Kaine was not just an enemy. And the war they fought on opposite sides did something to both of them. Something they're only beginning to remember. Helena wakes the next morning with a headache that feels like her memories are trying to claw their way back in. She sits up slowly, hoping the room will stay still this time. It doesn't. The moment she stands, another flash hits. Sharp, fast, overwhelming. She sees herself in a crowded refugee ward, hands glowing as she pushes healing energy into a dying soldier. She sees the wound close. She sees the relief on his face, and then she sees something darker. Soldiers whispering that Vivimancers like her shouldn't exist, that healing something so completely is unnatural. She remembers the fear, not hers, theirs. When she finally comes back to herself, Kaine is standing in the doorway like he's been waiting for the flashback to end. He doesn't ask if she's okay. He just says, it gets worse before it gets better. It's meant to be comforting, but Kaine is terrible at comforting. He says it like he's discussing weather patterns. Helena sinks to the floor, overwhelmed by the bitter truth. She wasn't just a victim of the regime. She helped build pieces of the machine that eventually hunted her. The line between healer and harm doer blurs in front of her eyes, and she can't tell which version of herself is the real one. Kaine kneels in front of her, resting his hands loosely on his knees. He doesn't touch her. He learned that lesson fast, but his voice is steady. You tried to undo the damage. You defected. You fought for us. That's why the regime erased your memory. They needed the old Helena, not the one you became. Her memories return in jagged pieces. Kaine was once the rival she sparred with. Later, the enemy she faced across the battlefield. Helena goes cold. Everyone knows what the capital means. More experiments, more restraints, more erasing of whoever she's becoming. No, she says immediately. I'm not going back to that. Kaine nods once, quiet, controlled. Then we leave tonight. There it is. The admission he's been skirting around for days. The moment where her former rival stops pretending he's her captor and starts acting like her ally. But Helena doesn't miss the truth behind it. Helping her is treason. If they're caught, he loses everything, maybe even his life. She doesn't ask why he's willing to risk that much. She's not sure she wants to hear the answer. The escape plan comes together fast. Too fast. Kaine has mapped guard rotations, memorized patrol routes, prepared a concealed passage beneath the estate. He hands Helena a cloak, dark and heavy, and waits while she fastens it around her shoulders. His hands shake once, barely noticeable, but she sees it. He sees her see it. They both look away. As they move through the halls, Helena feels her vivimancy simmer under her skin, restless and ready. She'd forgotten what it felt like to walk toward danger instead of being dragged into it. The guards are predictable, their routines rigid. Trained by a regime that trusts obedience more than instinct, they slip past 2 patrols and a surveillance node without being noticed. Then they reach the courtyard. This is the part Helena hates, the open space, the moonlit risk, the possibility that a single shout could undo everything. They move quickly. Too quickly, maybe. A guard rounds the corner. Kaine steps forward before Helena can react, drawing the man's attention, offering some cold, credible excuse, but the guard's eyes land on Helena, on her hood, on the way she stands like someone who doesn't belong. Helena doesn't hesitate. She lifts her hand and pushes a burst of life force energy into the air. Not enough to kill, not enough to harm, just enough to overwhelm him. The guard collapses with a startled gasp, unconscious but alive. Kaine stares at her for a beat too long. "You could have run," he says. "So could you," she fires back. Their eyes meet. Something unspoken settles between them, something tense and fragile and entirely new. They reach the outer gate minutes later. Beyond it lies a world neither of them trusts, but both of them need. Kaine unlocks it with a stolen keycard, swings it open, and gestures for her to go first. For once, Helena doesn't argue. She walks through. The night air hits her face. Free, uncertain, terrifying, perfect. Kaine steps through after her and pulls the gate shut. No going back. In the distance, alarms begin to ring. The alarms echo behind them like a final warning, but Helena and Kaine don't look back. They move through the dead forest bordering the estate, breath clouding in the cold. Every step a reminder that freedom is equal parts triumph and terror. Helena can feel her vivimancy humming in her blood. Stronger now, steadier, no longer smothered by drugs or restraints. If she reaches the resistance, she can help again. Not as a weapon, as a healer, but she also knows the truth. The resistance she remembers may no longer exist. By dawn, they've reached an abandoned outpost. Kaine barricades the door. Helena scans the perimeter. Neither of them is speaking. They're both listening for pursuit, for soldiers, for anything. Only silence answers. As the sun rises, Helena finally allows herself to sit. Kaine lowers himself across from her, looking as exhausted as she feels. His uniform is torn. His hands shake slightly. It's the first time she's seen him without the veneer of control. "You're free," he says quietly. She studies him, searching for the catch. "You don't owe me that." "No," he agrees, "but I owed you the truth." It lands heavier than she expects, because Kaine isn't talking about one night of escape. He's talking about the years before it, the rivalry, the war, the betrayal, the fact that he once fought for a system that wanted her dead. He carries it like a weight he can't shake. Helena's memories continue sliding into place. She remembers standing across from Kaine on opposite sides of a battlefield. Both of them shouting orders, both of them believing, wrongly, that they were right. She remembers the moment she switched sides. She remembers abandoning her work in the early regime labs. She remembers trying to undo the damage she helped create. And she remembers Kaine hesitating once, just once, when ordered to kill her squad. She never understood that moment until now. The war ends faster than either of them expects. Word reaches the outpost days later. The capital has fallen. The sterilization program dismantled. The new council announced. Helena spends the next weeks with the new leadership, offering her vivimancy to rebuild instead of destroy. People look at her with reverence or fear, nothing in between. She ignores both. Labels aren't important anymore. Kaine stands trial for his role in the regime. It's tense, messy, complicated. Helena testifies not to defend him blindly, but to tell the truth. Kaine Ferron upheld cruelty, then undermined it, obeyed the regime, then risked everything to stop it. He's neither hero nor villain, just a man who made choices, then made different ones. He's given a conditional pardon. When Helena finds him afterward outside the council hall, he looks unsure for the first time. "What now?" he asks. Helena shrugs. "We rebuild, not the old world, A new one. Kaine gives a faint, tired smile. Together? Together, she says.